Hello, everyone. Jeff Fratarcangeli here, Fratarcangeli Wealth Management, for our second Friday Fratarcangeli Market Update. I'm excited to come to you today to talk about what's happened in the previous week and 2 weeks, for that matter, as well as what we're expecting from the coming weeks. What's the projections and what do we anticipate on the headlines as well as the markets overall? And we've got a lot going on. This week, I'll start with earnings. We had two pretty strong earnings reports. One from Broadcom a few days ago, which came out fairly strong. The stock jumped about 3% on strong earnings as well as strong earnings growth. We also had a very strong earnings report come out on Wednesday night after the market closed by Oracle. Very compelling numbers. They made over $15.9 billion, a 2% increase, and had a strong forecast for 12 to 14% earnings growth, mainly from the cloud earnings as well as AI, data centers, etc. So they're putting their forecast out relative to building an infrastructure to get prepared for the next chapter of AI. I think that's a strong indication for where this market and this economy is pushing towards. So we see some strong corporate earnings. On another note, we're looking at the economy. We're looking at CPI numbers that came out this week. We were expecting 0.3% increase in inflation month over month, year over year. We came out with 0.1, which was softer than expected. And more importantly, we're seeing a trend downwards. In April, the inflation number, CPI number, came out at 0.2. So we're gradually showing some cooling off in inflation. We're seeing it in a number of areas across the board, airline cost, and a number of retail sectors as well, that are really starting to show inflation is cooling, which is a strong indication that monetary policy will start to consider, similar to Europe and other parts of the world, to start reducing interest rates. We expect that the June 18th Fed meeting probably won't bring much change, but by September, there's approximately a 71% chance we're going to see a reduction in interest rates on the Fed fund rate, which is a strong factor to the overall economy and pricing and valuation. So we're seeing a good monetary policy, and let's not forget deregulation. One of the, I believe, least talked about, but one of the more important factors is the fact that we're starting to see regulatory environments cool off. Deregulation, I think, will eventually bring to the table the opportunities for the banks to allow lending and allow the money to flow into what we call M2 supply to the levels that I think will be very powerful in the coming quarters. Not being talked about a great deal due to the uncertainty. We have a lot of uncertainty out there. We couldn't ignore the fact that we had somewhat of a blow up last, call it a week and a half ago now, between Trump and Musk, two of the most powerful and wealthy people. I guess you could imagine there's going to be some conflict at some point. Well, it came, and now we're seeing a softening to that. But now here we are today, waking up with the Iran deal that I know our government is trying to negotiate, a arms deal and a nuclear elimination for Iran to continue to keep our world more safe. And they had a 60-day time frame that was given back in April that if we weren't going to get a deal by a certain date, which is actually yesterday, that there could be further action. Well, here we are today. Israel attacked Iran yesterday, and we're seeing the impact of that in the market. I will just reflect back on what we've dealt with this year. We had a market that declined approximately 17%. We hit our lows in midday, April 7th. And yet here we are today with the market slightly higher for the year on all three major indices. So what did we learn? Dollar cost average. Don't get emotional. Focus on the main data points: earnings, corporate earnings, interest rates, inflation, monetary policy. The uncertainty will eventually dissolve and we'll get more clarity. I think by the end of this year, maybe sooner, we're going to see the big, beautiful bill, as our president likes to call it, and all that comes with it. We'll see some clarity there. I understand that they're renegotiating some of the previous agreements. I believe strongly that we'll get to a final vote that both the House and the Senate will approve, and I believe that clarity will bring some certainty. It'll bring more economic activity, and the deregulatory environment, along with the clarity, will bring a strong market and a strong economy. I'm very optimistic. I also believe bad news is good news for investors. Think about that. We have today's bad news, and it's very concerning. We really pray for the folks in the Middle East and Israel. We hate to see any loss of human beings, and certainly don't like to see the stress that comes with it. That being said, we do believe that these things will pass. We do want a safer world, and we think the economy and the clarity will be something that we benefit from. So stay the course. Dollar cost average. We're here to answer any questions you might have. I look forward to my team and I sharing more details as it relates to your particular goals. And I wish you all well, and I look forward to seeing you very soon. Bye for now.